Well, next we will hear from some of the wonderful board members that help to make Connections for Children work as the wonderful program that it is. Please stay with us at Nonprofit Profiles. Welcome back to Nonprofit Profiles. We are going to hear from some of Connections for Children's board members. We have with us Will Nicholas and Irene Valverde. Welcome. So Irene, tell me about how you first found out about Connections for Children and why you decided to join the board.
Well, for me, it's a personal story in that I had used Connections for Children a few years ago, and they had helped me find childcare and then a preschool for my oldest son, who's now 8. So when the board was looking for a marketing specialist and a friend of mine called me, I just jumped at the chance because I knew how important it was and how much they had helped me. So it's a very personal reason for being on the board, and now I know so much more that they do. So I really enjoy it.
That's so great. So you really came from it as a client. You were someone who used the service.
Exactly.
And Will, how about you?
Well, so that makes 3 parent-client users sitting here together. I hear that you had used Connections for your children too.
Absolutely.
I have a personal story too. Yeah, when my wife, we had our first child, my daughter was almost 2 years old and she was thinking of going back to work. We needed childcare and we found out there was an agency in the area who helped families find childcare, and we called, and she ended up in a place that was just phenomenal. We were just incredibly happy with where she went, and we thank Connections for Children for that. So that's how I heard about Connections for Children. And then in terms of the board, somebody who was on the board at the time, who was an old family friend at the time. I was working at First 5 LA, which is an early childhood funder in the LA area, and she knew that I was working there, and we had mutual friends, and she gave me a call, and I was thrilled. So that's how I actually became part of the board.
Wow, that's so exciting. It's so nice when you're able to access the service and then find a way to be able to give back as well.
Right, right.
So I understand that the board is pretty hands-on. So it seems like you guys all are really actively involved with the organization. Can you talk a little bit about what your service is like and how you interact as a board member?
Absolutely. Coming from a marketing perspective, I've really been working with Connections on communication and getting the word out. Just all of the stakeholders that affect Connections for Children and impact Connections for Children. We've really been proactive because there's so much going on out there. It's more important than ever for people to know that we're here and that the services that we offer.
That's great. And how about you, Will?
Well, one of the ways I've been able to get involved lately is I'm in public health. I'm at UCLA. I'm a teacher and researcher there. And obesity is a big public health issue now. And we are very aware of the fact that the kids spend a lot of time in childcare, and that's one environment where we can teach about good nutrition and physical activity and make a difference in terms of reducing obesity. And so we decided that was a direction that we wanted to go in, and because I had some students who were interested in that topic area in one of my classes, and I had colleagues that were experts in that area, I was able to get that piece of our program rolling, and so that's.
So does that mean that you help to educate the child care providers on good nutrition and help them to support the kids in developing those good nutrition habits?
It's right. It's just the environment itself, what kinds of food options there are. It's incorporating nutrition messaging into the types of play and interactive activities that the child care providers engage in with their kids. Yeah, exactly.
So I know that it has to be, with all that's going on right now, a very difficult funding environment. Can you talk a little bit about how you deal with the challenges of, funding cutbacks and just, generally less funding available for all kinds of programs, but education programs in particular. How do you manage those challenges?
It's definitely been such an interesting environment in the last few years, and it continues to change. So one of the first things that Connections for Children did was really become much more on top of private funding and going after private funding and awareness for the public sector and the community. So that's something that we've been working on quite a bit. Santa Monica has been always very, very supportive of Connections, and we're so thankful because they've been sort of an anchor for us. But we are definitely looking at other ways for fundraising.
Well, I would imagine that part of how you tell that story is just really helping people to understand that investing in children at this very, very young age really pays back exponentially. Can you speak a little bit about how you personally feel that the impact of investing in young children makes a difference for society as a whole?
Oh, I'm, as I mentioned, I'm a working mom, and I have 3 children, and I'm in it right now.
Oh, yeah.
I have a kindergartner and a preschooler. So just to watch them grow and to see the importance of early child care and what Connections is doing in the community is phenomenal. The socialization, the interaction, the independence that comes out of early child care is phenomenal for getting kids ready for kindergarten. And personally, having experienced it, I think it gives kids just the confidence to go to kindergarten and to be ready, to hit the ground running, and to go to a larger school. It's just so impactful to have that socialization early.
So let's just pretend that we live in a world where there was no Connections for Children. What would be the difference?
Well, building on what Irene's saying, early, it would be a sad world. I mean, the kids' early experiences. I mean, I'm come from a research background, and we've built our knowledge so much, especially in the last 20 years, about the importance of early environments on kids' development, and having interactions with caring and knowledgeable caregivers, and opportunities to socialize with kids your age. It's an investment in the future for little kids that, you talk about the tough times, the economic times that we're in. It's an area that, we can't afford to cut. I mean, we're in it for the long haul, and we'll be here. There will always be young kids that need those nurturing environments. But it's now in particular is the time to invest in young kids, because that's how you save down the line, because you start kids off for a better future.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for your service. I know you're a volunteer board, and it's really inspiring to hear about the work that Connections for Children is doing, because, the children really are our future, and the more that we can invest in them and help them get started on the right path, the better off we're all going to be. So I really thank you for your service and for sharing your stories with us here. And I thank you for being with us on Nonprofit Profiles. I hope that you, like me, are inspired by the work that Connections for Children is doing. If you'd like to find out more, it's connectionsforchildren.org. And thanks again for being with us on Nonprofit Profiles.
Choosing childcare is one of the most important decisions families make. As a parent, you want to know your children are safe and cared for. Connections for Children offers free childcare referrals, financial assistance, and parent education programs to suit your individual needs. Let us help you make the childcare connections you need. Call Connections for Children today or visit us online at connectionsforchildren.org.